appreciate it.
Oh, this is exciting. I don't think I've ever had a conversation as long as we're about to have.
I've been listening to the happiness hypothesis over the last few days, and I really, really enjoy it. I'm really enjoying it. It's really fascinating stuff, man. But one thing I wanted to talk about, because we were talking about it right before we got started, was what's happening with Peter Boghossian at Portland State University.
Yeah.
For folks who don't know the story, he and I forget his two colleagues,
Helen Pluck-Rose and
James Lindsay. Yeah, they released these fake papers on like homoeroticism and rape culture in dog parks, and just really preposterous papers that are almost like an article from The Onion. And some of them, not only did they get peer reviewed and accepted into these journals, but they got lauded as being these amazing pieces of...
One got an award,
And now he's getting in trouble.
That's right.
Yeah, and we were just talking about it, and I just would love to know your thoughts as a professor. Like what?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So for those who don't know, I guess most of your listeners probably do, but it was called the Grievance Studies hoax.
Yeah.
Because and this is one of the big issues going on in the academy, which I hope we'll talk about, is. What does it take to have good scholarship? And the argument is that in some fields, as long as you hate the right things and use the right words, you'll get published. And that's not scholarship, that's activism. And so these three people who did this hoax, they were trying to show that that's the case. And so they wrote these papers. One of them was actually a section of Mein Kampf.
Yes.
And they just substituted in something about feminism for Nazism, something like that. And I don't remember if that one actually got I think it did. At any rate, the point is they were trying to show that some of these fields in the academy are not really about scholarship. They're just about showing that you hate the right things. They're activism. And so there's no way to break in within those closed worlds. So they did a time-honored thing. They did a hoax. They submitted these papers. They made up fake names, and a lot of them got accepted. And now what's happening is that the Portland State University, which is only one of the three, is a professor. He's an assistant professor, so he's not tenured. Of course, he has a lot of enemies, and of course, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it looks like some of them wanted him investigated for violating the IRB, the Internal Review Board, because the claim is they fabricated data. Because one of the papers says, I inspected the genitals of 10,000 dogs in the dog park. It's like obviously absurd.
Yeah.
And he said, in 63% of the attempted humping, because the thing of the article was the idea that, you go to a dog park and you see dogs humping each other, and they were interpreting this as rape, as doggy rape. And so he's got all these fake numbers in there. So is that fraud? Is that data fraud? And if you read, so I'm writing a letter. For a lot of us are now writing letters in support of Boghossian.
Thank you for doing that.
But if you read they at his university, a committee was impaneled, and they looked at the literal definition of data fabrication. And it's possible that he does fall under that. But the point of this whole thing, so it's not clear. I can't weigh in on whether or not technically, but these rules are put in place to prevent the corruption of the scientific record. And what he was doing was not going to corrupt the scientific record. It was done to correct it. Right. They were doing it to show that there's a huge problem, and then they were going to unveil it. So the question is the university going to interpret this in the worst possible way, the narrowest possible way, and thereby make fools of themselves, look like laughingstocks, or are they going to use some common sense and recognize this for what it was? It wasn't data fabrication. It wasn't a fraud.
Yeah, it was an expose.
That's right.
Yeah, and I hope that they come to their senses. And they do have a point, if I'm going to be completely objective, about data fabrication. I mean, technically, maybe they could have written that paper without saying that they actually tested 10,000 genitals of different dogs. Yeah. But what's really important, I think, is that they recognize that regular people are paying attention to this now. People that aren't involved in this very insulated world. And they're going, this is crazy. Like, imagine if your children are going there and your children are being taught at this school that's willing to accept this kind of nonsense. Like this, what happened at Evergreen State University is another example of that.
That's right.
It's incredibly damaging to them as a university. I mean, they're their enrollment is significantly
plummeted,
down.
Yeah, that's right.
Their funding is in real big trouble. I mean, it's a real bad situation for them. And if you talk to Brett Weinstein, it was a wonderful place just a few years ago when he was teaching there.
That's right.
And it's gotten crazier and crazier on these campuses to the point where nonsense is not being questioned at all. It's just being accepted as just some. It's almost like some religious dogma that you have to follow.
That's right. So I think the way to make sense of all of this is you have to always look at what game is being played. So human beings evolved in small-scale societies. We have all kinds of abilities to function in those small-scale societies. One of those is religious worship. We're very good at making something sacred and circling around it. Another is war. We're very good at forming teams to fight the other side. And we love that so much we create sports and, video game battles with team versus team. So there's all these different games you can play. And the truth-seeking game is a really special one and a weird one, and we're not very good at it as individuals. And in my view, the genius of a university is that it takes people and puts them together in ways where each person, like scientists aren't these super rational creatures that are looking to disconfirm their own ideas. No, we're not looking. We want to prove our ideas. We love our ideas. But a university puts us together in a way in which you are really motivated to disprove my ideas, and I'm motivated to disprove yours. You put us together. We cancel out each other's confirmation biases. So the truth-seeking game is a very special game that can only be played in a very special institution with special norms. Okay, so we're doing this for my whole time in academia. I started grad school in 1987 at the University of Pennsylvania. And then just in the last few years, it's like some people are playing this really different game. And it's like if I'm playing tennis and I hit the ball to you, like we're in a seminar class, I give you a question or I challenge you, you come back and we go back and forth. And in the process, we learn. So that's like kind of like playing tennis. So I'm doing this and then suddenly like someone tackles me. Like, what? You don't do that in tennis. No, but they're playing football, you see. And in football, it's a much rougher game, and you're trying to destroy the others. I mean, not really in football, but I'm saying and so as norms of combat come in, and what I mean by that is political combat, as some people within universities see that what we're doing here is not seeking truth. We're trying to fight fascism, or we're trying to defeat conservatism, or we're trying to fight racism, or whatever, some sort of political goal. And these games are completely incompatible. And so that's why this madness has erupted, where you see professors saying something. Maybe it's a little provocative. I mean, going back to Socrates, that was kind of the point, was to provoke. And you see these bizarre reactions, emotional reactions, groups organized to demand that a professor be fired because we're playing different games.